All right, so we are ready to bring up our last company in the competition. This is MakieLab. Combines games, toys, and 3D printing to make creative entertainment properties, which we will hear about. Bob just said it was inevitable that 3D printing was going to come to toys. We have 5 minutes there. In 30 seconds, I will stand up, and that will begin when you start.
It's the year of 3D printing. Hello, everybody. I'm Alice Taylor. I'm the CEO of MakieLab. We are a startup based out of London in England, and we are 14 people and just over a year and a half old. We make virtual goods that produce physical goods. So we've built a software-driven manufacturing platform. We make digital toys and games that then produce physical toys. All of our toys are born digital, and each one is uniquely customized by their owner. We know that people want this because they tell us. You can see kind of forebears of this in things like Build-A-Bear or maybe American Girl. And we're seeing kids, collectors, and parents all want to see uniquely customized toys that they've had a hand in making. We are disrupting the traditional system in this. So as you know, toys are mass-produced, and it's very, very hard, nigh impossible, to produce individualized toys using traditional methods. By using 3D printing, we have, the technology itself opens up the opportunity for us to be able to create one-of-a-kind objects in every single print run, from dolls to warriors to dinosaurs, you name it. We are in open alpha. So we first launched on the web, and we've just released an iPad app, just literally this week. This is what Apple said when they saw our app, and so they featured us. We've gone straight to #1 under kids in the UK, and we're in the top 10 in the UK already, and now they're rolling it out to the States and elsewhere. We have some really good, we think, evidence of traction. We get a lot of attention and a lot of love from people who see the dolls, and this is the first product tailored to 8+ kids, and we're getting a lot of kind of organic PR. We're doing no marketing at the moment because, as I said, we're in open alpha. We will consider ourselves in beta when we have brought the price down somewhat and we have our game live, which will be this summer. The second product that will be coming out uses exactly the same manufacturing technique, but it's a completely different product. This one will be for 8+ boys, and yet same thing produced by our platform. So we have a really flexible system that we've grown. I'll put this one just to give you a little example. Yesterday, somebody said, so, you know, how long does it take to create new toys? And everything that we produce is on demand. So it takes us as long as it takes to model, print one version to put in our shop, and then from there on in, it's an object that exists. So in that way, we produce dolls, we produce warriors, we produce tea sets. We can take this to dinosaurs, to cars, you name it. As long as it takes us to model something, it's a toy. We have passed toy safety certification. We are the world's first toy-safe 3D printed toy for kids 3+. And where we're going to take this next, with Makies, we have the first app out, and we will do a series of apps targeted very specifically to different styles of doll. We have a game coming out in the summer, which will be tablet and smartphone. And then from here on in, we will choose very specific target groups, build a toy specifically to them, same manufacturing platform, and that's how it rolls out. We have a great team. Sulka is our designer. He was the chief designer from Habbo Hotel. Joe here is a multi-award-winning media producer, and Luke, our CTO, built all the back end for Little Big Planet and Lord of the Rings Online. We have taken investment. We are halfway through our seed. We raised $1.4 million last year from Lifeline Ventures, who invested in Supercell, that's Petri on the left, and Nikolai Nyholm from Sunstone in Sweden. Martha Lane Fox, you may know from lastminute.com, now Baroness of Soho, is our chair. Our ambition is to be like our heroes, Lego. So one basic idea that produces worlds and worlds of creative fun, targeted very specifically to different groups, but using the same basic system. That's how big we want to be. They're a multi-billion-dollar company, and they've got 50 years of work ahead. You know, they've got 50 years on us, but that's where we want to be in the next 10. The economics of this, 3D printing is an emerging technology, as you know, and using it for consumer-facing products is unusual. The price is still high compared to traditional, but it is coming down, and we are planning for that. And these are some basic figures on how we get to compete head-to-head with Barbie within the next couple of years. That's it. Thank you.
Bob?
I didn't catch the margin analysis. Is that a 20% or an 80% margin?
It's 20% on the physical right now. So in 2013, with the high price, and we're very, very small, we're making 20% margins on the physical. What we want to do is balance that out with virtual goods. So when the game comes out, we'll have virtual goods, which are usually more the 80, 90% margin, plus physical goods, so it'll give us a blended across the two. We're going to aim for 70 to 80 blended. But then also the margins on the physical get better with scale. So as soon as we start to have larger numbers, we can buy the materials in bulk, we can negotiate with suppliers, and just do bigger runs. So
Do you own your own printers then?
no, we don't. The printers start at 125,000 euros. So we don't own our own. We buy time on suppliers' printers. And so we send out the pieces, and they come back to us.
There is such a thing then?
There is, yes.
Wow.
Thomas, you look.
Turnaround time to actually get a physical good. You maybe said that, I didn't catch it.
One of these, at the moment, we're turning around in a week. We advertise it as within 2 weeks, but it takes about 24 to 36 hours to do a full print run. And depending on the size of the machine, that's kind of $35 in the tiny one and $270 in the big one. So we can turn it around fairly fast.
So I think the vision is fascinating, probably 5, 10 years in the future. Looking at that doll, I might as well just have it made in China and sell it for 15 and take 70% margin.
Sorry, I kind of missed that.
So I could just have this made in China?
You can have this made in China.
I could have it made in China and probably sell it cheaper and have a much higher margin than what you're doing.
You could have a traditional doll made in China, but you couldn't have an individualized doll made in China. So this one is my one, but every single one is different.
So your argument is that consumers want individualized toys?
Yes. And we're seeing that. I mean, we're selling, even though we're in alpha, we are selling, but all of the feedback that's coming in is people absolutely love the creativity that goes into it and the fact that they can have one where they go, I made this. So these things don't get thrown away, they get kept. They kind of end up being heirloom toys. Like people feel that they've had a real hand in creating something. Parents think this is fantastic for kids. The kids themselves love it. They spend hours doing it.
So I just downloaded your app. It looks great.
Thanks.
And I love the fact that you bring sort of mass customization to life here. But obviously there's a certain, there's not an unlimited number of SKUs, right? There's a certain, limited number of combinations. What are the SKUs? And really it's the face and the body that you're printing, and then the clothes is, you have that as inventory, right?
That's right.
So how many different combinations of dolls can you produce?
The actual doll itself is a non-computational number. I mean, it's billions of variations.
Oh, really?
The clothes, what we want to do with the clothes, because obviously that's far more traditional manufacturing. So we have, actually we've got the London College of Fashion over the road, so we have a constant stream of graduates making the clothes. But so our plan is to have a basic set of items in the shop. But what we also do is every time we make some clothes, we put the patterns up on the forum. We have a really vibrant community on the forum of people who are coming in and making and creating around the Makies. And so we want to really encourage that. So while we're going to produce some, we'd also like to grow an ecosystem where people are actually making the clothes and the accessories themselves as well.
Right. So what have you learned from, I mean, I just looked at it for 30 seconds, so I'm not really super familiar with all the features, but it seems that you're giving people choices, preset choices, which is, and they look great. But what you just said implies that maybe they can create some of their own. So
So when a game comes out, sorry, cut you off, but
so can they create their own fashion? Can they upload their own face or their friends' faces and have the doll look like that? I mean, we've had a lot of success with that kind of thing.
There's two questions in there, but with the game, one of the things that the user will be able to do is texturize cloth on the character, which we can then print onto cloth if need be. So we really want to get right into the creativity, into the clothes as well as the other bits and pieces. We chose not to allow photo upload because it's just not it's a great idea and people will do it, but it's not a creative process. It's more of a novelty thing. So if you upload a picture and then it does it for you, that's great, but it's not something that is creative. We're finding kids, I mean, this has only been out for a week, but we're looking at user sessions of kind of 25 minutes of creativity.
I think I missed it. What's your cost versus
at the moment, these start at £59. by the time you've got the hair and the clothes, it's going to be kind of head-to-head with American Girl. I think if I've done my translation right, but American Girl starts at $109.
What are your margins?
Up to 20% at this
And does that
point in
include the cut that Apple takes?
They don't take a cut on physical goods. So when we bring out the virtual goods, they'll be taking 30%, but this purchase goes out through a browser window.
And then the idea then once you have a game is I can use my doll as a character in the game? Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
You're taking on two large challenges. One is you have to figure out this manufacturing, drop the cost, basically produce great goods.
Yeah.
And second, you're also saying you want to make unique games.
Yeah.
So you're taking on two massive challenges.
That's right.
Does your team have a background in game design?
Yes. We mostly have a background in game design, and then since we've been taking on product designers from the traditional toy industry, etc. So the founders are, as I mentioned, from Luke built Little Big Planet. My background is in educational games. Joe's background is in educational games, and Sulka was from Habbo Hotel. The rest of the team are coming in from places like Moshi Monsters, Playfish, that kind of background. So we know a lot about games. To answer your point, I mean, it is really interesting. We are doing virtual and physical, so we're already 14 people. We're bigger than most would expect a small startup to be, but we're producing two things.
So is this like the Mind Candy model with dolls instead of cards?
Yeah, and we figure we see this as a massive differentiator. Yeah. I mean, nobody is doing this, and people will do this in the future, but yeah, exactly. Mind Candy did the traditional route of after 3 years, then going to China and running off the plush, but we're already getting calls from game companies and licensing folks just today going, can we talk to you about this?
So are you guys, I think maybe this was, are you developing the games, or are you going to work with game companies to make, is that sort of where you were going with that?
We are developing our first game, not least because that's where we can roll in the virtual goods, but we're perfectly open to having the conversations with folks to do third-party stuff. You know, we've had some people approach us and say, well, can we, you know, how about an open API so we can use your characters in our game, and vice versa, could you make toys out of our products? And we're having those conversations.
There's some guys here that can actually do that for you, I think.
Yeah.
Would you ever license existing brands? Because there's the unique part of this is the customization, right?
Yes.
And then, you know, if I'm going to buy a virtual good, why not buy a real good?
Right.
I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
But you
We
could
just
also see
sold a doll
on the flip side, you know, there's brands that have characters that, you know, I don't know that they would want consumers to modify them, but how would you work with existing brands? I guess that's the question.
Well, as you say, yeah, there are some. I mean, I don't know if people would want, I don't think Marvel would want you to muck around with Spider-Man, but some folks who we're talking to at the moment are things like children's publishers who are coming to us and saying, oh, so, you know, we could create a world of characters that include this customization idea. I think it's pretty safe to say that everyone wants to build their own superhero of some description as well. We just had a doll made this week called Lady Lala that just got sold. So people are kind of doing their own interpretation of existing folks. So, I mean, I think there's space to have customized versions.
I know there's more questions up here. She answered everything in 8 minutes. Bob?
I think it's wonderful.
What limits the size? What limits the size of your toys?
Limits the size?
Yeah, can you make them?
Yeah, nothing. The biggest print machines are about that big, so technically if you wanted to, you could have a doll yay big. It might scare people. And obviously, it's a volume-based pricing system, so the bigger it is, the more expensive it is, and equally the smaller something is, the cheaper it is. But you can do it. I mean, the technology was invented 20 years ago and is used in aerospace and car making, so you can make some really big pieces.
If you want to leave the little guy up there, I'll take him home. Were you going to say something? No? Are we good?
We're good. Good.
Thank you very much.
This is the first one that ended early. Thank you.